Okay, we're going to look at section 5.6. This one's called Home Sweet Home. It is about home mortgages. It is similar to the ones that we did about the car loans. So for the setup for this one, you are a loan officer at a bank that specializes in long-term loans called mortgages. This is when a property is used as security for a debt. A young couple recently married has decided to purchase a townhome that negotiated a price of $120,000. I think later on we're actually going to see that they negotiated down to $114,000 a little bit later on, but we'll sort that out. They've applied for a conventional mortgage in which the interest rate of the loan remains fixed for the duration of the loan. Because the townhouse is older, the bank is requiring a 20% down payment. The bank is currently offering a fixed interest rate of 4.25%. So the bank is also requiring 2 points for their loan at the time of closing. This is the final step. The closing process is the last thing they have to do for the sale. You explained that charging points enables the bank to reduce the amount of the interest on the mortgage loan and therefore reduce the amount of monthly payment. So it asks us first off to determine the amount of the down payment. And so we are going to go ahead and use the $120,000. So they said they wanted 20%. So our 20% is going to be 0.20. So we're going to do 0.20 times the 120,000. And we get that that is $24,000, okay, for the down payment. Now then, if the couple agrees to pay a premium for private mortgage insurance, or PMI, the bank can lend up to 95% of the value of the property. That means that the seller or the buyers would only be responsible for paying 5% as their down payment. So our 5% is going to be 0.05. So we're going to do that times our 120,000. And that is only going to be $6,000 that they would have to do. Now, it says, assuming that they agree to purchase the private mortgage insurance, or the PMI, what is the amount that they're actually going to mortgage? Okay, so we're going to take the $120,000 of the price. We're going to take off the $6,000 down payment. That's going to leave us with $114,000. Okay, so 114 is what they'll actually be financing when they go through this. Now, a point is 1% of the borrowed amount. Determine the amount of points, and this is the amount that they have to pay to the bank. So the bank said that they wanted 2 points at 1% apiece, so that's 0.01 times the 114,000 is going to be $2,280 when that is all said and done. Okay. So now, in the previous section, we talked about amortization when we talked about the car loan thing. And this is where you take a large loan and you pay it off in equal periodic payments over a period of time. Mortgages are a type of this. That are paid off using amortization. So the amount of the mortgage, in this case, the $114,000, is actually the present value of the annuity. So the amount of the mortgage can be calculated using a table. Since the mortgages often run for 5 to 30 years, there's a special present value table which lists the periods. Since they're also large sum, this is done for every $1,000 of the mortgage. Okay, so the next couple of slides we'll be referencing. These are those tables. So we have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30 years. And then on this slide, we have our 3% through 5.25%. And then we pick up at 5.5% to 7.5% on the next slide. So I'll be referencing back and forth to these as we go. Okay, so it asked us to determine the monthly payment on a $250,000 mortgage at 4% for 20 years. Okay, now first off, we know that since these are per $1,000, we're going to have to do 250 times, and then we're going to need to get our number. Okay, so 4% for 20 years. So we're going to go back to our first table. We'll do 4% right here for 20 years. That is 6.06. Okay, so we're going to get that value. So we're going to take 250 times our 6.06. And that is going to get us 1515. Okay, so the monthly mortgage payment would be $1,515. Now, if we were going to use our TVM solver for this, okay, so setting this up for our TVM solver. So remember, you're going to go to apps and then finance and TVM solver. Okay, so 20 years. So N is going to be 20 times 12. Okay, which is going to be 240. Our interest percentage is going to be 4. The present value, okay, is going to be 250,000 because we're working on, okay, the payment, the PMT, is going to be what we're looking for. The future value is going to be 0 because we're going to pay that off. Our PY is 12 because we're going to pay all 12 months. And our CY is also going to be 12. So you'll go back up to your PMT line. Remember that with this, you're going to press alpha and enter. Okay. And we get that it is, and it's a negative number, but we know that that is 1514.95. Okay. So again, there was probably a little bit of rounding in the table, but we don't see that it's that far off from what we got. Okay. So now it says, remember the couple that we have applying for a mortgage. It's $114,000 at 4.25% APR. Determine the monthly payment for a 30-year mortgage. Okay, so again, the table is for every 1,000. So we're going to have to take 114, because that's how many thousands we have, times, and then we're going to go find 4.25% on a 30 years. So I'm going to click back. 4.25 is right here on this line. And on 30 years, we're at 4.92 for that one. Okay. So 4.92. And that gives us 560.88. Okay. So their monthly mortgage payment will be $560.88. Okay. Now, what is the total amount that they're going to pay? Well, they're going to pay that $560.88 times 12 months in a year times 30 years. And so that comes out to be $201,916.80. Okay, which is quite a lot of money. Okay, and then it says, what is the total of interest paid? Now we have to take off. Okay, so to find our interest, what we're going to do is we take the amount that the couple paid in and we subtract the original amount, so the $114,000 that they financed. And we discovered that they paid $87,916.80 in interest over the course of that 30-year loan. Okay, that's quite a lot in interest. Okay, so now then, it says the couple would like to compare monthly payments and total interest paid for different lengths of time. Okay, so we're still using our $114,000 mortgage at 4.25%. But if they did this on a 15-year, okay, then instead of that 4.92, it would be 7.53. And when you do that 7.53 times our 114, we're going to get that monthly payment is $857.60. Now, when that is paid, okay, so if we take our 587.60 times 12 times 15, because they're only paying for the total amount. Okay, so 857.60 times 12 times 15. We get 154,368. Okay. And so then for our total interest, we discovered that they only did 40,368 in interest on that one. So well under half of what it is on a 30-year mortgage. If we do this for a 20-year, okay, on the 20-year at 4.25%, it's 6.20, okay? And when you multiply that out, you get that this is 705.93. So again, taking our 705.93 times 12 months times 20 years. So we've got 705.93 times 12 times 20 years is 169,423.20. So we've got 169,423.20 minus our 114,000. $55,423.20. Okay. And then if they opt to do a 25-year mortgage, again on that 4.25%, we're looking at 5.42 times that 114 for the mortgage, and we get that this is $617.58. So notice the longer the mortgage goes, the cheaper the monthly price is, okay? 7.58 times 12 times 25. I've got 185,274. So 185,274 minus our original 114,000. $71,274. Okay. So notice though that the longer, even though the payment is cheaper, I mean, this is from 15 years, we're, you know, closer towards $900 here. For the 30-year, we're under $600. But because you're paying it off faster, you've got less interest that is being done. I mean, we've more than doubled it. Even though we go from 15 to 30 years, we've more than doubled the amount of interest that's happening on that loan or on that mortgage. Okay. So now the couple decides on a 30-year mortgage. In order to have the lowest monthly payments, you explain to them that the monthly payment is applied to pay the interest on the loan and to reduce the amount owed. They ask you if that $560.81, and that was found using that TVM solver. We talked about that. That's a little more accurate. Is equally divided to those two things. Is it going, you know, half of that goes to the principal and half of it going to the interest? And it really doesn't. Okay. They actually apply it to your interest first, and then they apply any that's left over to the principal or the amount that's owed on the house. Okay. So it says to determine the amount of interest for the first month using the I equals PRT, where P is the outstanding balance of the loan for the given month, R is your annual fixed interest rate, which is 4.25%, and T is fixed at 1/12, and that's because we're doing 1 month. Okay, so for the first payment, okay, we have that I is going to be our 114,000 times 0.0425, so times our percentage, times, and I'm going to do this in parentheses, 1/12. Okay, so we're going to do 114,000 times our 0.0425 times our 1 divided by 12, and we get that this is 403.75. Okay, so This is the amount of interest that's owed that first month. So now what you have to do is you take the payment that you're making. So in the couple's case, the $560.81, and you're going to subtract the interest payment that's happening. Okay. So 560.81 minus the 403.75, and that's going to give us 157.06. So they're actually only dropping that $114,000 mortgage the first month by $157.06. Okay. So now it says calculate now the principal. So now we're going to take our 114. We're going to take off that $157.06. And that is going to say that we still owe $113,842 and 94 cents. Okay, so we really didn't reduce it. Now, the following table that I've got here shows the rest of it. So here was that first payment. Second payment, again, all of the monthly payments are still this $560.81. Notice that our interest is dropping just a bit for each one. So as that interest amount drops, that means we're putting a little bit more onto the principal each month. It's not a lot up here in the beginning, okay? And then we can see that the balance is coming down slowly, ever so slowly, but surely it is coming down, okay? So now, another important thing, an important responsibility of a mortgage loan officer is to determine the borrower's ability to repay the loan. So in order to determine this, they need to have their gross annual income, which is the amount of money that they make each year. They also need to know what the annual property taxes are on the house and what the annual house insurance is, because you do have to pay taxes and have insurance on a home, okay? So it asks us to determine the monthly housing expenses by putting the mortgage payment and the monthly expenses. So we're going to talk about the taxes that are going to go on the house. And so we're going to take the $2,200 and we're going to divide them by 12. This way I know how much it is that I'm paying in taxes per month, even though that will come out a little bit differently. So it's $183.33 for that. Okay. Then we're going to talk about our insurance. Okay. And so then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take our $670, we'll divide it by 12. And we get that is $55.83. Okay. So now the monthly expenses, okay, so the monthly expense is going to be our $560.81 plus our $183.33 plus our $55.83. Okay, so our $560.81 plus our $183.33 plus our $55.83, and we get that this is $799.97. Okay, so the monthly expense is $799.97. Now, determine the couple's combined gross monthly income. So previously, they said that they made in a year $60,000. Okay, so we're going to take our $60,000 and we're going to divide that by 12. Okay, and we get that means that they are bringing home $5,000 a month. Okay, so it says most lenders of conventional loans use the qualifying rule that monthly housing expenses should not be more than 28% of the monthly gross. Okay, so this is, you take your monthly housing expense, which for us was that $799.97, and we divide it by the gross income, which is going to be this $5,000. So we're going to take $799.97. We're going to divide by the 5,000. Okay. And so when we do $799.97 divided by 5,000, we get that this is 0.159994, which is roughly equal to 16%. Okay, so the question is, do they qualify? Yes, they would qualify for this house loan.